Thank you for tuning in to our Hear and Play Live, brought to you by the Gospel Music Training Center. We are here for our Memorial Day Massacre, because that's what's taking place here on these instruments on this afternoon. Let me introduce the band to you. Craig Brockman on organ, Bryan White on bass. He's playing the 4-string today, man. Got the 4 today, for sure.
Very nice.
Demetrius Mabry on percussion, drums. He's percussionist, brother. He's the percussionist.
We on the pass today.
And last but not least, all the way from the Bay Area, we didn't bring you Steph Curry. We didn't bring you Seth Curry. We brought you Chef Curry. David Jackson, man. Welcome, man. Welcome, brother.
All day.
So listen, man, you guys are going through that loop for the person who's on the other end. Because basically what Hear and Play is about is basically if you can hear it, you can play it.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
And what we like to try and do is bring the most talented musicians in, which we have done today, and then try and give them a little bit of workaround for how to sound like David, how to sound like Craig, how to sound like Bryan, how to sound like Demetrius. And what we want to make sure we do is give the folks plenty enough content so that they can see. Although the files will be available so that you can see what Craig's doing, you can see what Bryan's doing, you can see what David's doing, and also what Demetrius is doing. But it feels pretty good to have the tutor right here.
Right.
All right. So tell me a little bit about what's going on this afternoon, fellas. What are we doing here? This just something you came up with?
Yeah, we vibing, man. We just hanging out, letting the Lord use us.
Letting the Lord use you.
Even when the sound goes out.
Well, for a minute there, I thought it was a pause. I looked and I said, oh, they didn't practice that, but they still playing.
Always good to have a click.
Oh, yeah. The inner click. The inner click.
I was watching the numbers.
For sure. So, hey, when you're going through that, when you're going through music within itself, because that's typically what happens for, a musician like myself. I'm not as good as you guys are, but I can play. But when you look at what's taking place, I know what I hear. I know what I hear. And for someone who's trying to, become that, what would be just a couple of things that you would, advise, David, to maybe pick up that sound, that you have?
Well, I mean, anytime people, come to me and ask, questions like that, I always tell them to learn songs. Mm-hmm. It's like, you learn a lot. You learn a lot for your vocabulary, a lot for your concept, in the songs. It's like the foundation of it is in the songs. I tell musicians all the time, it doesn't matter how good you can play if no one recognizes what it is that you're playing. So I'm like, just get in the songs.
Yeah. Because I noticed even beforehand, because, we've all have, been here for a while. I mean, you guys were just going through almost like a whole Rolodex of just stuff you've known, over the years. So,
Right.
I started listening, I would imagine, gospel music about, tell my age a little bit, about through the 70s.
Yeah, the good
Right?
stuff.
And then the 80s.
Man, the best years.
The best years, I think, from the stuff that I heard in terms of the momentum,
Right.
that you would hear with some of the groups. And I've even heard, some interesting music in the 90s because it seemed like, the gadgets started being introduced.
Yeah.
Oh, man, the 90s, the gadgets started being, introduced. And
Drum machines and more keyboards, yeah.
Yeah. And then some of the stuff that I hear, of course, now in the 2000s, that just musicians are using for, albums and CDs, and you're seeing some of that stuff kind of creep into your regular Sunday morning service, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So you have to be a well-rounded musician on the technical stuff,
Right.
you think, now, too?
Right.
Most definitely.
Right?
Yeah.
It's not just about playing these days.
Not anymore.
It's about knowing the technology. You got to know how to program, know how to, create loops. And, churches are using stems, all kind of stuff these days.
What's a stem?
Stems, basically, it's a structured format of the music with, sometimes they have the vocals in it, sometimes,
Oh, I see.
horn parts, back end, like the organ, synths, everything, sort of fills it up.
And you play on over on the top of that.
Yeah.
Oh, I got you. All right. So if you don't have a horn section,
It's in the box.
and it's in the
Yeah,
box.
that's what we call the computer, the box. And I was gonna say, that's kind of like the easier part of, the era and time frame that we live in. It's like now, if you just get a computer, it's like you 90% there. You know what I'm saying? Versus having to have, drum machines and modules and and what he's really saying is it's like you can have a smaller band and still accomplish, a big sound.
The entire thing.
Yeah. So it's a lot of preparation. It sounds like to me, but different kind of preparation. But it sounds like there's a lot.
But here's the thing. I mean, when you say preparation, and this is always the fun part about why musicians get paid, what they get paid, and things like that. I'm like, it takes us from 1 week to the next week to accomplish what you see us do that week. As we prepare for the next week, even in just learning music.
Yeah.
So it's like now the same preparation that we take to learn the music and to rehearse it is the same time that we putting in to preparing it, sonically.
And that's a controversial subject, David.
Right.
I mean,
Yes, it is.
musicians getting paid.
But that's my point. I'm like, that's why I'm like, it literally,
Yeah.
it's like, people say, well, I work an 8-hour day, and 5 days a week, to get what I get. And I'm like, it takes us probably, 18 hours a day.
Wow.
8 days a week, the day that we don't even get. It's like, 8 days a week, 25/8, to achieve what you see us do for that 2-hour time period. It's like, it takes the totality of that. So I'm like, when you compare the hours we put in to what we do versus what you work to do, I'm like, you still get to have a life. When I'm sitting in a restaurant, if I hear a song, I'm finding what key it is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just don't shut off. That stuff just don't shut off.
We talked about how special David was earlier. About I don't know what's your deal with chords, but it was one chord out of place, and David just had to fix the
my
one
OCD.
chord,
Yeah.
one cable that was out of place.
But going back, it's like, so, even with keyboards, it's like, guess what? The sound guys don't always, make sure that our equipment is plugged up properly. A lot of times we do it ourselves.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like my keyboard rig at my father's church, it's like we hooked it up,
Oh, really?
Everywhere I've been at, as far as gospel is concerned, it's like, whatever mystical magic we got going on, it's like we had to figure it out ourselves.
Yeah.
So just to even know, how to plug things up, to make it work, on top of having to play, on top of knowing what to play, when to play it, it's like that's all that's going into it. You just see the song, but I'm like, there's a whole, foundation that goes beneath that tree that you see in the forest. It's like the root of it all is, it's massive.
Well, I was looking at some of a conversation that was happening on a social media feed.
Yeah.
And the big topic is musicians being paid. And I saw, from what I thought, some really overboard,
definitely.
comments. Clearly, probably from people who don't play, who don't understand.
Right. Uh-huh.
That they got a problem with you, Craig, making money.
They can keep their promise.
Keep it. That's a good way to put it. Keep it. Keep it.
But really, I mean, they got a problem with you, Demetrius, getting paid
Oh, yeah.
to play for the church.
And sometimes that's hurtful. And they don't look at it like that. It's like, for as hard as we work and when we put into it. And I can level, that's why I say there's a vast variety, of integrity or integral levels of musicians, So I'm like, I'm not talking about to the ones that we visually see come in late, don't know the song or only can play one or two songs. I'm like, okay, if there's one level, then there's another level. The group that's here right now, this is like, this is hard work right here. This is professionalism. These are the guys that are on time, that are knowledgeable, and have the experience. It's like, so when you say, like, well, why is she there? It's like, whoa. It's like, we devoted our lives
Just lumping
to this.
everybody who they see into one, into one bucket. I don't think that it's just from looking in, I don't think that that's a good business model to say, I'm going to have you work and prepare to present something for my company, and I'm going to take 15 hours of your day
Yeah.
for you to prepare it. And then when you present it, and it's excellent, I'm then going to tell you, you're not worth the presentation.
I couldn't have said it better.
Yeah.
I want you to
I
do it
just-
just because you love what you do.
Just because you love what you
And
do.
I'll see you next week.
And I'll see you next
Yeah.
week.
Be on time.
Yeah. Not very good. So yeah, you guys went through some stuff, man. I'm anxious to hear, some of the other stuff that you're going to go through here. We don't have any singers, but
Craig can sing for us.
I think Craig can sing for
Come
us.
on, Craig.
Get my soul secret skills together.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is what key is this in? Is this
It's in a hard key. It's in A.
it's in A?
Yeah.
All right. We like A. We like A.
It's in a hard key.
From the old school, they said A natural.
Yeah, there you go. A natural.
It's in A natural.
So, yeah, that one, the one we just did was an A natural, but
Oh, it was.
the one we're about to do now is in B flat.
It's gonna be in B flat.
Yeah, it's a Richard Smallwood tune. I actually like this.
You actually like this?
One of my favorites.
All right. Well, keep tuning in, folks. We're gonna dive into this next song, and we'll get back with the band shortly and find out what were they doing and how did we arrive at this point.
Cool.
Well, if you're tuning in, you're definitely not hearing this on the radio. This isn't a radio station that you're hearing or a CD, but it sounds just like the CD, the album. To me, man, beautiful, beautiful sound, man. And you guys didn't just meet though. I mean, this NoCal and SoCal thing. It's just a good mesh.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
and a very good sound. So you talked about learning some of the new tools that are available so that it enhances the band and the kind of time, you know, that it does take for you to, you know, prepare. And people are controversial. They say, you know, you shouldn't be paid for what you do, and that's too much. And, I don't think that a musician should. I think you should donate your time. I think you should donate your time. If just as a question, if you have a family at home,
Man,
can you donate anything to Edisonville? Can you donate free time to
I sure would like to try it.
Yeah. The mortgage, lease, rent is kids need shoes, and man, don't even start me about clothes for kids.
But then the ones with the conflict, they say, well, we have the same issues. He says, so do what I did, go out and get a real job. Okay.
This is my real job.
This is my real job.
I mean, if you think about it, any professional is a profession at what they do.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the concept right there, because music can also be a hobby. Because some people that's just gifted and they don't care to make it a profession.
Correct.
And so sometimes that line gets blurred because they may go volunteer at a church because they can afford or they have the lot, to do so. So you lump that in. You say, well, this guy's talented, and he's, as a donation, as a gift. And you say, well, this guy, he's kind of talented, but, he wants all this. And this guy is actually better than him. Yeah. But you're not comparing, the living situation of both individuals. Sure. You're just making one assumption based off just one point of view.
Sure. And there's just a point in time where the business. And I've never pastored a church, and nor do I want to.
Me either.
But I do understand that with anything that you do, it has come to the point and has been where it's a business transaction.
Absolutely.
As well too. I mean, it is.
It's a utility.
It is. It's a business transaction. It's reached the level where, now I can afford to have this part of my company or my business to function this way.
Right.
McDonald's, did they always have drive-through?
No.
I mean, at some point,
It had to advance. Yeah.
it had to advance. It had, to expand. But we don't have a problem going through the drive-through.
No, because it just is what it is.
Yeah.
And to your point again, we only see that one way.
Yeah.
But when you see, this area where it could go many different ways.
Yes, sir.
And so, you're limited to your perspective.
Yeah. Yeah. And, that being part of it, I definitely don't overlook, the spiritual side of it, at all.
Right.
I'm not saying that. But the time that you spend doing what you do, can you touch on a little bit of how sometimes that's a strain for you? Is that a challenge
You over there
for
quiet.
you
You
to?
say something.
I mean, for me, not only just time and preparation that we have to go through, I always say God gave me this ability to be able to play, and not only to be able to play, but to keep my mind fresh, to be able to remember.
Yeah.
And not only just that, sometimes I might not be in front of a drum set, and I still have to learn songs.
Yeah, the same thing David was
Try doing that. You know what I'm saying? You got your bassists and your guitar players, they can bring their instruments whenever they want. I can maybe bring my sticks and, tap on something.
It's going to be kind of weird, dude. You bring some sticks to a restaurant.
You know what I mean? So the fact that I have to be able to learn music sometimes on the go and actually can't miss a beat, a lot of people, they say, well, they only, like he said, they only see the finished product. It's like I want to, a lot of people can't do that. To be able to not play the instrument that they play, show up to something and be able to play. I said, God blessed us with a lot of people with a lot of talent, but as far as just being able to remember and hold things in is a whole nother story in its own self. Yeah. And it's like, I always see where people say where, you're supposed to be able to, play, for, like you said, a donation or whatever the case may be. And it's just like the amount of money we put into ourselves on the gear that we play alone. You know what I mean? I see a lot of people, you have desk jobs and office jobs. They provide you with computers. They provide you with that beeper that gets you in the door and all that stuff. We have to provide our own sound to be able to qualify and see ourselves as the level of professionals that we are. That, we have to buy these cymbals, we have to buy these snares, and people be like, they look at me funny, and my girlfriend look at me funny and be like, how much does that cymbal cost? You don't even want to know. I have like 10 of them, and all of them don't cost less than $200 or $300.
Right.
And it's like, we have to not only, be able to hold ourselves as professionals, but we have to sow into our own self. You say bet on herself or so.
You do.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
you do.
So it's just like, it's a lot of, like you said, the roots is deep.
I understand it. I just, definitely, if you don't invest back in yourself, then
deep. They don't understand.
They
don't understand
how
much money we put into ourselves. They don't get it, man. So much money.
Honestly, they wouldn't even hire me before I had a keyboard that was mine. Like I used to beg Andrew Goucher for gigs, and he'd be like, "You got a keyboard yet?" Because he had one, but why provide it for you? Why bring it for you? You have to bring your own, and then
yes, sir.
Okay, now we can work with you. You can already play. We know you can play, but do you have your own? Can you study the music? Can you practice at home? Really was the point.
This is what that level was going to be.
Yeah. That was the real point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Rehearse before rehearsal.
Exactly.
Wow.
Whole nother subject.
Right. So just the time that it takes, right? The investment, back into yourself. I just happen to have these, just I wouldn't say random thoughts, but just throughout church services that either I've been a part of, that I've had, to play, or you're the worship leader. What about that challenge? And what I mean by that is there's so much emphasis on the preparation for the product that's coming forth. The ministry before we, come in and I wouldn't say performing because we're not performing, but before we execute it. How is that challenge for like your spiritual life? Because I have to pay really so much attention to the production of what's happening. Doesn't that part of you, I know for me, I can't say for you, I know for me that was a challenge for me to try and get me built up because I'm helping it. You understand what maybe I'm not explaining it.
Oh, no, you're saying it. Yeah.
We understand
that
one.
Like I've heard actual preachers, ministers, pastors, whatever, literally tell people, I don't pay you to come praise. I don't pay you to shout. I don't pay you to participate in the service like that. I pay you to do a job. You know?
And that's something that I actually consider. I get a lot of times they say, "What's wrong with you getting up and shouting out the keys?" Because I'm like, then who's playing the keys? So while y'all watching me, and it's not really benefiting you to watch me praise God, it's just entertainment for you at that point. If you're not praising along with me, you just like, oh man, David shouting. Man, that was the greatest thing ever. It's like, and I'm like, and I'm gonna get laughed at by my friends later, which is all fine because I would laugh at them. But I'm just saying, but to the point, I'm like, it's almost like certain scriptures in the Bible about certain things that we do in church that don't or does not edify the body. So I'm like, you seeing me get up and praise God does nothing for you. So if the one, and it's. Even though they don't necessarily come off like that, but that's really the concept. Sure. It's like that's not really why we're there in that moment, as far as the professional aspect of what we do. Yeah. To your point, which for me personally, we talked about it earlier. I was able to go to Pastor John Hannah's church, this past Sunday.
Yes, sir.
Just because I was in town and it was early enough, and I was like, I get to go to church today. And anybody that
You
knows
mean
me,
you got to be a regular person?
That's what again, let me say what I said. I got to go to church.
Yeah, man.
And people are like, you go to church every week? I'm like, no, I work in the church every week. And I'm very grateful for that opportunity because, it's twofold. But to be able to go, that's why I was like, man, the ushers kept bringing tissue. I was like, I'm from Oakland, I'm like, hey, I'm crying and stuff.
Good. Yeah.
But man, it was like, just to be able to,
Yes, sir.
get fed, it was overwhelming, man. It was bringing me so much tissue.
Right.
Just take the box.
But besides that, a lot of people don't know, but some mornings, I wake up, early. Sometimes, we nap too long or whatever,
sir.
and you wake up too early in the morning. Well, I'm like streaming whole church services.
Yeah.
It could be a range of different churches, but I'm talking about like the whole 2.5 hour service. I'm watching the offering part. Because to your point, I'm now taking this time to build myself up spiritually because you can't give nothing that you don't have, and I'm like, I don't want to just play to sound good. I want to communicate a feeling.
Right.
If somebody came in there that felt low, hopefully it's something I could play to make them feel better because that's going to make me feel better. I go through stuff too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
And to piggyback off of what he's saying, it's important for me to take the time to build up my spirit, man, because it makes me that much more effective in doing my job in your church or your ministry. You know, I'm able to be in tune with what's going on because I took that time, to build up the spiritual side and not just focus on the music.
Right.
So it's important to take that time to do that.
Yeah.
It may not be where you're playing.
I can only speak from from being a man because I've been a man for I've been a man longer than I've been a young man.
Yeah, okay. I get where you're going with that.
I'm on this side of 18, not that side of 18, right? Yeah. So I can only tell you that as a man, there's no way that if you claim to have a relationship with God and I don't spend time with him, it ain't for God. It's for me.
It's 100% for you.
Yeah.
Bro, me spending time with God, he doesn't need me. I need him.
Period.
Because life, man, is so real on Monday morning.
Yes, sir.
Sunday
Actually,
afternoon, Greg.
right after service.
Really?
Yeah.
Because, I can think of Sundays where you gave and paid your tithes or you gave an offering. But I was really trying to figure out, do we have enough groceries to make it till next week?
Yeah.
I mean, that's real talk.
That's real reality.
Or how am I going to purchase a home for my family? My daughters are getting older.
Yeah.
How am I going to be a good father, to them? That's the stuff that if you don't get time, man, to get balanced and try and deal with that as a man, you're going to be very unbalanced, bro.
Yeah.
Very, very unbalanced. I can tell you that being on this side of 18, that as a man, you see, and I see it, man, all through society. Men need other men. That's just straight up. You have to be in a relationship with somebody who's going to hold you accountable,
That's right.
who's got your back,
That's right.
not trying to take anything, from you. And I just enjoy the camaraderie. I don't have to sit down not once. But just to have a conversation with you is lost. Yeah, man. It's lost.
You're right.
Yeah, it's lost. Yeah. So that struggle that we have, man, how do we get around that? You guys got any suggestions? How do we get, back in tune? Well, what do you do to get back in tune? David said he just shows up randomly at somebody's church and just start crying. So
Sometimes I do random.
Yeah.
I go to Bible study.
Yes, sir.
And Bible study is not part of my work week.
Yeah.
Got you.
It's outside of my work week, and I show up, and the pastor's like, that's good.
Yes, sir.
It's good for me, not even that I'm just there and he can play tonight because he's here. No, he's here to get fed.
Right.
And the pastor notices that.
Yeah.
And it's helped me because
Yeah.
the wretch undone,
Yeah. Yeah.
he was talking about me.
So some of my best eye-opening moments happened in the car.
Oh,
when you just
When you drive.
by
praying.
myself, praying, reflecting, and man, we played that song before. I didn't know that's what the lyrics.
Yeah, we're saying.
It dawns on
yeah,
you so much later.
Yeah, yeah.
Like something clicks and it's like,
I've gone back and listened to songs that I played like probably months ago at a church or filling in, and it's like, man, I never heard that song before, and then I actually listened to it instead of just learning to to perfect it, to minister it, but actually soaking it in and stuff. It's just, it gives it a different light when you're actually just reflecting and listening to it. So there's some powerful words in a lot of these songs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So we're going to get back into some more music. I want to invite the folks to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. We're just, man, this is great conversation, man. Great, great conversation. Get a chance, sign up. If you can hear it, you can play it. Gospel Music Training Center. And then you too can get inside and find out what's going on in David's head and Craig's head and Bryan and Demetria's head and hopefully produce a similar sound.
Yep.
right, fill in the blank. Other than Jesus, who would you like most to meet, and what would you say?
Whoa, that's hard.
Other than Jesus.
Other than
there
Jesus.
is no other than Jesus.
There is no.
Man.
Well, I mean, he was, you know, he
God.
was like most. I was like,
Who would you most like to meet?
Golly.
Living or dead?
Right.
And
they would probably be dead.
who would you like to have? Man, what would you say? What would that conversation be, man? You had 1 hour.
That's
We're going to give you
tough.
1 hour, living or dead. Who would you most like to
Like
meet?
I'm just rolling through it. I'm like, man.
So many family members.
So many family members.
But I would
Okay,
love-
can you categorize it like saying like
yeah, 'cause
musically?
that's tough.
It can be.
All right.
It can be
Or
musically.
do you mean it to be like, you know?
Well, no. Who other than
question.
other
It
than
is.
Jesus?
Yeah, it's loaded.
Who, yeah, well, it may
That's a lot
be.
of people.
I have one.
You have
I
one.
would love to have been just an hour with Art Tatum,
Man.
one of the greatest pianists of earth.
Yes, sir.
Ever. I just
Ever.
would love him to show me some technique.
Yes, sir.
I mean, there's so many others, but that's one
Yeah,
for
That is
sure.
awesome, man.
yeah.
And the
Man,
guy
good
that
pick.
created the piano.
Yeah.
And the guy that had the concept of the harp that made the piano and the keys. And then the guy that created the bass and the guitars and the strings. And who did the thing to even get tuned. And I don't meet all those people.
Yeah.
Right.
There's too many people.
Right. Right. Brian, you got
Besides
somebody?
Jesus, God.
Well, one and the same, bro.
Good one, good one.
Now I need more than an hour with him.
1 hour, man.
Dang, that's
1
it's
hour.
still tough though. That's
You ask him anything you want, get all your questions answered. Living or dead. I think, you know,
For me,
for Brian, are you going to say what? The first guy who played the
no.
upright bass?
it wasn't even going to be musical, actually.
Really?
I was thinking more like Steve Jobs.
Mm.
Really?
Kind of, pick his brain about, from the beginning, like, what was he thinking? And, like,
Yeah.
what led him to, the whole point where he created what he created.
Yeah, man.
seriously that.
Yeah, probably
Yeah.
Steve Jobs.
Yeah. Yeah. Demetrius?
Man, that's hard.
Loaded question, man.
That's so hard.
It's good though.
Because you got so many?
I mean,
Folks,
because
if you-
there's so many people that you can think of that you wouldn't mind meeting.
All right,
You know what I
well,
mean? Like, it's just
Since
like,
you can't get it down to one, how many? How many you got off the top of your head?
That's still crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah, that Steve Jobs one was good. That's not good. But I mean, like, let's see.
While you're thinking about it, for me, it's not really a person for me.
Okay.
I'd like to meet the family member who mostly reminds myself of them.
I like that.
You know what I mean? And then have that conversation with
I had
that.
something like that in my mind.
You
as
know what I
well.
mean? Because it could be some African warrior, man, that I don't, I mean, you never know. I mean, that part of us, our culture is so lost and not really reachable, or tangible. I'd like to go back far enough to see how far back.
And it's hard to do that DNA test because you don't know what. It's a bunch of trickery with that. So that's actually great though.
I really would. Maybe, maybe I got some, I think I might got some Egyptian, in me. I don't know. I don't know.
We have touched the world. We have
Been all over, man.
we are the salt of the earth.
Yeah, man. That'd be great to have
Light
that.
shining.
conversation. Yeah.
In the very dark world.
Always thinking about music. You got your person, Demetrius? Maybe?
I mean, like, mine's is really too, like, who is it?
You can't.
So,
Holly Berry taken, man. You can't. You
still
can't.
be Nia Long.
Oh, okay.
That's
Nia taken, man. You can't taking people's girlfriends. Man.
But I mean, you got some people on the. It's not too deep or anything, but
Doesn't
it's
have to
just
be.
like, I would love to meet like Will Smith. I know these things. I know like it's possible to,
Gotcha.
This ain't no like super
Sure.
You know, I would love to meet because he was in a lot of the movies that I grew up watching.
Gotcha.
You know, Will Smith. I've seen Prince, but I never met Prince. I would love to like have a session with Prince. Like, I actually got to play in front of him actually before he passed.
Yeah.
The band from back home got to play for one of his private parties over at Paisley. He found us online and watched our YouTube, and it was just a little fun being from back at the crib.
You never know.
You know
Will Smith could be watching.
Absolutely.
And he could too subscribe to hear him play. He could. You never know.
So Will Smith was definitely, because Independence Day is probably my most favorite movie. That and Bad Boys those were like two movies I love watching when I grew up. So
The way his mind works, I would like to meet him too.
Yeah,
he's solid in his thinking and the way he
Especially now.
gives. He gives.
yeah.
He's a giver, and I like that about him. He gives information,
I was about to say,
not monetary
information.
things, but he gives.
Yes.
And the knowledge that he has and he can share to help you grow.
And
I would like to meet him too.
I remember when he started getting on IG, and it was just like, man, he's just feeding nuggets every rip. And now he's on Facebook Live. That's just, you know, getting
it's
all
crazy,
this,
huh?
You know, he's doing all this bucket stuff. And it's
Out
just
of West Philadelphia, right?
Prince, Will Smith, Stevie Wonder. These are, you know,
That's very
another
doable,
person.
man.
Yeah, you know,
I
that's-
mean,
that's
in the line
something
of
that
work,
can happen.
in the line of work that you do, I think
always say
that's-
yet. I haven't met them yet. I haven't met these people yet, but I feel
Go
like
down
it'll
there to
happen.
KJLH, man, and knock on the door.
Yo, Stevie!
I know you're in there. Just let me pick your brain a little bit.
Yeah, man, tell her you want to see him, man, right now, for sure. David?
Man, I was, I got a range of people. I'm like, there's certain Bible characters I wish I could
For
meet.
sure.
Ooh,
Yes.
Like, David in the Bible. Like,
Man, that Samson would be a good one, wouldn't it?
Samson too, but I'm like David in the Bible because he covered so much ground, not just because my name is David, but I'm just like, I think David in the Bible is one of the most interesting, especially even for a musician, because he was a musician.
Right.
He's also a king, but I'm like, but he was a fighter though, like he was a beast.
For real.
Yeah, like I'm like I like how they always say like he was on the backside of the mountain and his dad was kind of like not really publicizing him, but I'm like, dude probably had aggression issues.
Dude, his first
That's probably why.
his first recorded fight
Yeah.
is beating up a dude who's a giant? What?
Yeah,
Like, where do you go from that?
But I'm saying, but even before that, it was like he killed a lion and a bear. I was like, you got to be like kind of fierce, just like kill a lion and a bear. I mean, I've seen a
bad
lion,
boy.
so I've just said it.
Cold cat.
Yeah,
It's a bad boy. I mean, what we get, his first human contact with, having, that's like the equivalent of having,
right.
Pacquiao.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Or even like UFC fighting. I'm
Right.
just like, it ain't no referee to stop it. I'm like, you fighting a whole animal,
Fighting a giant,
that's
man.
bigger than you. Like, and then you go fight a giant because like you so confident from what you've already accomplished.
Where you go from there, bro?
Yeah, you like a giant? Dude, I killed a bear. This is nothing.
Hey, that relaxed too.
Yeah, exactly.
You killed a lion and a bear, bro. What is that?
What
that
else
was
you got?
like that was kind of like his
Just a big
perspective.
deal.
He's like, y'all, you letting this dude talk to you like that? You're like,
Yeah. Does music have that too? I had a thought. I mean, I figured once you've accomplished a very difficult song, something that was, challenged. Do you guys even get challenged anymore?
I even go further than that. I'm like, my first real gig was probably like the worst moment, in my whole career, like right before the gig started. Like I was rocking with Mary. This is my first show. It was like 10,000 people. We were opening for Fred Hammond, and my keyboards didn't work at soundcheck. This is my first gig. We didn't even hardly rehearse because we was goofing off, playing video games and stuff. So it's like now it's prime time, and the one real moment that I needed, like, to really hone in on everything, like, it was a complete failure. And it was like, man, I was like crying in the bathroom stall, like before, like we did it. It's like,
What's the deal with you with crying?
yeah, I'm like, I'm from Oakland. I ain't even like, I'm from Oakland. I'm like, but life would do some stuff to you, man. It'll break
Got
you
some
down.
real feeling. You got a real heart inside.
Yeah, it'll break you down. And I was just like, I just knew like that was my failure. I'm 18 years old. I'm like, this is the rise and fall of my whole music career today. But it's like, fortunately I made it through it and got to work with them substantially for years after that. So it was kind of like, you can't really do anything worse except probably not have the equipment there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We'll make anything work.
So were you guys able to recover and play? Or?
Yeah, so it was an old school Chord Triton. So like the most miraculous thing, they had the actual floppy disk to the keyboard taped under the keyboard. And I just happened to find it, after I was finished crying and stuff, and I was able to reset the keyboard and get it to work.
Real.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But it was it was crazy because, modern keyboards now, you just hit factory restore and it comes back. But back then, it was the memory wasn't big like it is now. So you had to have something external to restore it.
So, advice to young musicians, don't play video games.
Yeah. So when Craig said rehearse before rehearsal, it was like,
That's the biggest thing.
I'm definitely a victim.
Me too. When I say stuff, I'm talking to me first because I've lollygagged a lot of stuff.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I've
So
showed up.
it's wisdom trying to help you not make my mistake.
Yeah, man.
Please bypass that.
Yeah.
Rehearse
We've all been
before.
there. We've all
Yeah.
been there.
Yeah, for sure.
But then now I bark that because rehearse before rehearsal. Because when I get to rehearsal, I don't want to teach parts. I want to go through the song.
Yeah.
Then I could teach a part if you don't know the part. But if you don't know the song at all, that's a headache.
So you went all the way from crashing and burning, basically. Well, you recovered too.
Yeah, but I mean,
Man, I even hear you played at Aretha Franklin's funeral, right?
Yeah, I did.
Come on, bro.
Yeah, that was a crazy moment.
Yeah.
First of all, it was a long funeral. It was like we were there probably 5 hours before we even got to play.
Wow. But you weren't playing video games, bro.
Nah, no video games.
No. Wow. So you had an opportunity to play for a portion of the service, or?
No, I did one song. I was playing behind Jennifer Hudson.
And that girl can sing.
Yeah, I mean, man, I remember from the Idol days. It's crazy. And also, I was to say, watch what you speak. I'm like, I remember watching American Idol saying I would love to play for her one day.
If when you see her, because I would imagine you're going to see her again, you tell her, the other Jackson family, the other Jackson family, not her, you're MD?
Yeah.
Okay,
Sir.
tell her the other Jackson family. We love.
Tell her we probably
Jennifer
connected
Hudson.
somewhere in there.
Yeah,
Somewhere. But
we love.
My cousin said.
Yeah, exactly.
My cousin said we
I'm
love.
quick to put a cousin of you, Jackson.
Yeah.
Like
Tell
I said, my
and we'll
parents-
FaceTime. We okay.
Okay,
Well,
that's cool.
if that's what you want to do.
All right.
We're available.
That's cool.
That's beautiful, man. So all the way from crash and burn at 18, it recovered, man, and all the way.
I said miraculously recovered because I'm like, man, I didn't have nothing.
Yeah.
It's like you find out who you are and what God really gave you in those type of moments.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and Craig, I know, man, you've played for everybody
Absolutely.
as well. This dude right here. You helped me not crash and burn on a concert way back in Long Beach. And something happened with the musician that I remember Craig he wasn't even supposed to play.
I do that a lot.
He wasn't even supposed to play, man.
I did that last night, matter of fact. Oh, nobody's playing organ? No.
Yeah.
Let me go help these people out.
Yeah, man. He wasn't even supposed to play. I remember that. And that was even before JP and I had started playing together. And I remember that when he came through. But we all knew like friends of friends.
Right.
You know what I mean? Friends of friends. And of course, later on, many years later, this guy, is, man, still. Any recent things that you've played on, Craig?
There's a few albums that's coming
Few
out.
albums? Great.
Then the Soul Seekers, of course, are coming back soon. So
Come on, man.
be ready and prepared
Come
for
on,
that.
man. We'll be ready for
In
that.
September.
Yeah.
I have a few
Absolutely.
things going on.
Yeah, and that's
the main.
beautiful to hear. Yeah,
Yes,
that's
sir.
beautiful to hear. All right, well, folks out there in YouTube land, and we need you to subscribe. If you want to get a hold of this music and actually, updates for additional material and additional shows that that we're going to do. We definitely want to invite you to do that so that you can go ahead and get the notification and get this music in your ear. All right. Gentlemen, you got something else for us?
Sure.
Let's do it.
Come up with something.
want to talk to him no more.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
See, that'd be one of those moments I needed.
Oh, yeah.
That one. You know what I mean?
Even the words of that song is beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll be that one where I'd be a bloody mess in the
Oh.
dark, you know,
Seriously, yeah.
by yourself. You know what I mean?
Oh,
yeah.
Better
Yeah.
than good.
Definitely.
You know the crazy thing, if you play that and say those words at the same time, you start getting goosebumps, you get
Yeah.
watery eyes. It's like that
Yeah.
song will start touching you.
Yeah. You know, any person that claims that we, you know God, do you I know I do this, but do you have that replay of your life?
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
You had those moments, yeah.
While I was playing it right now.
I got those like flag points in my life where I know that it had to be God, you know, God
Absolutely.
to be there, you know, in order to orchestrate, you know, that.
As a musician, period, our lives are not
Sure.
the norm. You know
sure.
what I mean? We don't have, some of us may be blessed to have a consistent check, but some, there'll be times where you'll just either come off the road or something like that where all of that money is that's what you have to
sustain yourself.
To go to the next whatever next comes comes next. So it's just like, there's been times where I know that I don't have the money next week. I know there's something's gonna fall, it's gonna fall through the hole, but God turns something around where it's just either he gives you a phone call and puts your name on somebody's mind.
Yeah.
I don't take none of that for life, taking life, because your name is all you have, as a person, but as a musician, your name carries weight. It could either make you or break you. So the fact that God put your name on that person's mind to get you through this situation, or to help you with funds or this situation, or to get you out of a certain living situation.
Man. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I've been in LA for like 3 years. Yeah, it'll be 3 years in July, I believe. So, and I've lived in South Central for 2.5 years, and I always, me and my girl, we was always saying like we want to get out. We got to get out, because it's just poverty, just being able to look at that 24/7. I just didn't, I didn't want to do that. You know what I mean? I'm coming from Minnesota, where I lived. There's poverty, everywhere.
Right,
There's
right,
poverty everywhere.
right.
But it's just like, where for me, I was just, it's clicked. I don't want to live here no more. I don't. And in a certain situation where God was able to bring me out of it, and it was nothing but him. I can never, ever take credit for any of it. You know what I mean? Because there's certain moments where it's like, that was God.
Yeah.
Hands down.
So, I think that's really part of the core for all of us. Like, I keep in mind that if I ever get to the place where I have the platform for some type of accolade, I will always make sure that I acknowledge there's no way that I could have done it.
Because you can always ask this question: when hasn't God come through?
Right.
Exactly.
When hasn't He?
Yeah, man.
We always gonna have an obstacle, but when
for
hasn't
sure.
He fixed the obstacle?
Yeah,
For sure.
Brought you out of something.
For sure.
Always.
So, saying what you said, Demetrius, I have another question for you, gentlemen. I have another question.
You got the good questions.
Got the good questions, brother. Got the good
You
questions.
got 'em.
What could you live most without? If you had to make a choice, if you had to lose everything, either lose all your money or lose all your chords, which one would you rather lose? If you had to,
I'm gonna lose the money.
You'd rather lose all the money.
Yeah, because the chords would have other people, pay stuff for me, even if I don't get the money. It's like, well, I could do a GoFundMe, for my utilities or something.
I got you.
Why you couldn't add social media? Because I could lose that.
For real.
Oh, Craig, you be going off sometimes. Man. I'd be like, who made Craig mad today? Like, what's going on here?
Then he covers it up with a joke.
Yeah, and then he covers it up and then lay you down softly. It's like, man, somebody must have really said something sideways to Craig, and he's not gonna let it go.
You see some of the craziest stuff on to say some of the craziest stuff
Yeah.
on social media. So
You know, yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
you
How
can
do you
definitely-
guys do that though, man? Like, because I know that happens.
Oh.
Well, sometimes people clap back at you, and you're the gospel musician, man. People they clap back at you.
I'm a work in progress.
You know,
That's what it
I
is
mean, we
for me.
all are, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Because, you know, you want to clap back, and sometimes you may say some slick back to somebody, but at
Sure.
the same token, you got to erase it because it's like,
Yeah.
I'm bigger than that, I'm better than that, I know better.
Yeah.
I've been working on me to be better, so.
Yeah.
And they don't want no smoke anyway.
oh gosh.
They really don't want to go. That too is like, okay, you was talking trash. And I'm not the best fighter in the world, so I don't want no problems either.
Right. That's just, you know, relationships, man, are tough. That's that other part of the balance where you have to, you know, work on it, man.
Yeah.
You do. I still have to work on it. That
That's
ain't
what I
something
meant.
I mastered. I haven't mastered that.
That's what I meant.
I do. You know, I say something and I think it one way, but you know, it came out sideways, man. And then I got to go back and, you know, apologize.
Yeah.
You know, I do.
Well, I mean,
know.
I posted online, you know, I even kind of slowed up a little bit, even like, you know, with some of the things I post, because I did a research to find out that 30% of people are going to disagree with you just on the strength of it.
Yeah.
And I was just like, whoa, and it's like, it's not that I need, you know, or want everybody to
Validation.
agree with me.
Yeah.
I always want to grow. So I only talk about things that I'm really confident that I believe I understand. And it's like, if you counter me, then I'm here to learn something different.
Yeah.
But understanding that some people are just going to counter you for the sake of countering you, I'm like, I'm not really up for that because it's a waste of my time.
Yeah.
So with that, I've kind of like taken even a more different approach in just life, you know, just to see like, you know, 1 out of 3 people is going to be like,
Yeah.
no. Just
Yeah.
because,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm kind of more interested in the 1 out of 3 that will say no because they have a better point of view,
Yeah.
you know, that I can benefit from as well, something that I didn't see.
Yeah.
Because we're always learning and growing, you
Yeah.
know. And I'm like, I always say, you know, if you're the smartest one in the room, you need
Yeah.
to get out of there as fast as
You
you
know,
can.
I was having a conversation with my wife, but it was something else that triggered the conversation, and it was people don't really make a whole lot of new friends or new. That's very rare for you to just meet somebody out, you know, Target. You had a conversation,
Yeah,
you know, hit it
yeah.
off, you exchanged information, and then now you are now having Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah.
You know, at their
yeah.
house. Usually, the people that you're in relationship now that's what you got. That's what you have. And how good are those relationships? Do they cultivate? For me, the best thing for me has been I don't have a lot of time for
Yeah, that part.
things that don't and aren't quite going where it needs to go. And so I made some changes, you know, years ago and just said I would do things differently. And it's okay for the relationships that I've developed for them to be where they are. They were fine where they were, but I have this other part in my life and I don't owe you an explanation because I'm not going to be rude or vindictive about it. But
Right. No need to force anything.
Oh,
no,
absolutely.
but I don't need to try and make this be something that it's not going to work.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's not going to work. But that was hard, man.
yeah, I get it.
That was hard. That was hard to do that, thinking that I still owed that person something.
Yeah.
That's the I'm thinking. Well, what are they going to think about me?
Yeah.
I don't want them to badmouth me. I don't want them to, So are your relationships, man? Are they hard to manage? I mean,
Not
'cause-
hard to manage.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean in music, because it's like one thing I always like to, that I say sometimes is just like some people you build friendships and some of the people are just associates for what you're doing. You know what I mean? Like everybody is not going to be able to click. Personalities are not going to be able to click. You know what I mean? So it's just like certain people you'll find you gravitate more than others, but you're still cool with those
For
people.
sure, for
you
sure.
know? It's just certain people you gravitate more because maybe you have more in common.
Yeah, man.
You come from the same background, or you lived in the same city. I know
Sure.
from being in Los Angeles, you don't meet a lot of people that's from Minnesota. So you have to.
Oh, you're the only one we know.
I'm sure I am. I'm sure I'm a lucky one. From Minnesota. I got
I know
one of
about 4.
I got one of my best friends that's here now too. So it's good to,
You and Corey.
me and my homie Corey. Like that's one of my guys from back home.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I've known him since he was like 16, 17. I was like,
What are you,
19,
like 20? I mean,
no, I'm 29.
Oh, okay. I think like
I'm
16, 17.
Still a baby.
But it's like, you have, moving here, you notice that, you got people that you only hang out with, or certain people that's from their city, or that they, went on tour with and they built a bond, and, that's, it's just one of those things you just gotta take it what it is.
David fits in. I mean, you don't. If you want to move down here to SoCal, you can.
You're more than welcome.
You're more than welcome to come down here. You don't have to
appreciate
stay in the Bay Area.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
But that's how I judge it. It's more so, I always have great associates that I meet, people work with, and I'll, be able to hit. I know I can hit them for whatever professional advice, or, but you got your core friends that you can hit them with life advice, or talk to them with certain people. But it's not love lost.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. There's nothing wrong with you being an associate and we're not friends. It's cool. Yeah. When I see you, I'm still gonna be cordial.
Yeah, of course.
Because there's a difference between friend and associate.
Of course.
Yeah.
You just nailed it right.
Yeah. Well, it's always a benefit for me when I see people who I know doing well.
Always.
There's no, there's no hating. There's no, I wish it was me. There's no jealousy. Mm-hmm. If you're driving better than I am, that's
get
good.
A ride.
That's that's good.
You get a ride.
I need a ride, right?
Right, and you encouraging me to step my gang up.
If he sells the #1 CD, I'm hoping. Can I get in the concert?
Thank you.
I'm just hoping if Jennifer come to town,
Can I sit in catering?
Can I sit in the catering section?
And there's nothing wrong with healthy competition. I was listening to somebody that was very successful at what they do, and they said they had lived in a house with 3 or 4 other producers, and they was like, if I'm trying to be #1 in the charts, and if we're all trying to be #1 in the charts, that means somebody's gonna be #1, but somebody's gonna probably be #2, because if you're matching with me, you have no choice but to succeed, to hit a chart, so it's just nothing wrong with, that type of friendship either, you know what I'm saying? So
it's good to have this type of musicianship in the worship setting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because for that very reason,
Right.
because you're going to lift the level of that sound.
Exactly.
God forbid if he, goes to Bible study during the week and he's got that right.
Yeah.
Just think about that. And he's got his heart's right. Come on, man.
Unstoppable.
There's something like so great about like a core musician, especially in a church. Like, I could just come and just go to city. I feel in that city every once in a while, but to actually listen to the people that's been there for years, they elevate each other to project the sound that they have, and it's even a pleasure just to sit back and watch.
Yep.
So it's just that's another thing. Friendships that turn in, bandmates that turn into a family. Been playing together so much. So like you said, having somebody, David being really great at what he does, he elevates all of us to match what he's doing, and that brings the sound that you hear.
Yeah, I couldn't have been, more proud of. My wife had a friend. Her friend's daughter was in the Miss America pageant.
Wow.
Just like,
Wow.
and she's cheering her on. She knows, the
That's
person.
nice.
Yeah.
Man, that's crazy.
It is. That's huge.
There wasn't nobody in my neighborhood could qualify. For Miss America. I don't know. All right, so let's get back into some more music, man. You guys are just you killing me on this Memorial Day weekend.
What we got?
Who barbecuing?
Yeah, I'm trying to tell you, man. Brian, you barbecuing this weekend?
No, I'm not a grill guy. I don't know nothing about grilling.
I can't cook at all.
Well, you,
This is the guy.
I cook.
Yeah, Craig
you get down?
is the cook.
Craig can get down?
But I'm doing seafood. I'm not doing no ribs and chicken and all that stuff. I'm doing
Then
seafood.
you ain't barbecuing, brother. You grilling.
I'm grilling
He's
seafood.
grilling this weekend. For sure.
Greg's house.
Yeah, don't forget to subscribe, folks, to Hear and Play.
Hear and
If
Play.
you can hear it, you can play it. Really? Really?
That was fun.
Yeah, it looked like it was. Now, what key was that in? That was in.
That's B flat.
That was B flat.
Yeah.
All right. And then if you're going to try and learn that song, because
Yeah.
if you're going to try and learn that song, David, what's your approach, man? Because there was a lot going on there,
Right.
right? And I heard a passing chord before you went to another portion of the song. So when you're learning the top, what's your process, man, for figuring that out?
So I mean, we literally it's a step-by-step process. Even looking at it, linearly, like if you're looking at the CD or the iTunes, whatever the music player is, start the first 10 seconds of the song.
Gotcha.
So the first 10 seconds of this song is just. that might stop you for a minute because it's in B flat. So you might be like, or you might be like,
Yeah.
you might need to find that,
Yeah.
So I'm like, take your time to, no, like take that time to really. I mean, that happened to me earlier with Craig. I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah.
It was something that simple, and I was sitting there. Like, so it happens, but it's. And you just take it part by part, literally. Take it part by part. I say chord for chord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the young musician who he knows, all right, B flat, he knows that. I would imagine it's one of your earlier, I would imagine, keys that you don't know how to play in.
Sometimes.
I
can't really say what the earlier key that you learned how to play in this day is.
Yeah. Seems like a lot of shortcuts that, just to me, it does. Maybe just because I'm mad because we had to learn the old school way.
We had no choice.
Yeah.
There's a transpose button on everything.
Man.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, man. Yeah, everything.
Back to what you were saying, B flat.
So B flat. So you start out with the beginning, first 10 seconds. Sounds like that's I wouldn't say the intro of the song, but it sounds like that's the song that takes you back to everything.
Yeah.
It's like if we can just get here, we're back to
Right.
So how does Bryan know to go to that? It sounds like it was a passing chord.
Yeah. Where
Before you went to the 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So and that's I don't even know that that's in the song. We played it for so many years. That's the Hawkins song. He'll bring you out.
Yeah.
But leading up to that, the thing about Bryan is I was like, I told him,
The Swami. That's what we named him.
But
Swami.
the thing is he's like, he's a phenomenal player, no question, no argument, But I call him the mind reader because I'm like, he can sit with any keyboard player and, and just never get lost. Like, but he's always the extension of the left hand.
Yeah.
In addition to what he brings to the table.
Yeah.
So even for somebody like him, sometimes just playing that chord, I'm talking to him right there.
Yep.
So it's like he'll hear that lead up and he's already meeting me there.
Like I was waiting for you guys to do it again.
Oh.
Because that was the part of the song where I was like, he's gonna walk him up. It's basically like you were escorting him to the next.
And that's the thing. He also understands it's in the scale.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
If he knows the scale, then you can use any of the notes.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And that walk up is telling them it's a language that we can speak amongst that people will never understand, but we're saying gibberish to some people. But that ba 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 is telling him set up.
Yeah.
Just like him on the time or his floor time, he's setting it up for. Oh, it's a setup, so it's a turnaround.
Yeah. And
if everybody's aware, excuse me,
No, you got it.
and if you rehearse again, and everybody's aware, they know rehearsal message.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that setup is a setup.
Yeah.
Special coming.
It makes me want to say, oh, if I were going to church that Sunday, it makes me say, I'm gonna stay for the second service because they're gonna do that song again.
That's special, yeah.
With that little part right there.
That's awesome, man.
That's one of the incentives.
Really.
Of having great music.
That's what the person in the audience, I think, experiences, in part. Because I look at it as, in order for me to express myself, in terms of I'm going to show my jubilation for, my rough week or being here and back in the house of the Lord again.
Yeah.
Something's got to be able to be in tune to, to carry me there.
Right.
To kind of escort me.
Right.
Can y'all just do that 1 to the 4, just one more time? Just one time all the way through, please.
All right. So we go back from the F sharp. 1, 2.
So you're gonna go? was it, man. That was it. So younger musicians.
That was even, you just missed that one right there. Like just me and D, just that fast. It was like, we ended up, and he saw my hand do that. He had put the sticks back. He saw my hand sitting there like this, knowing that he was gonna close it out. And then I waited for him to close it.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's so small.
Yeah.
But I'm like, an ending is just as powerful as the beginning of the song. So the fact that he was just like that alert, or that I even knew to like throw him that curveball, that was like a no-look pass right there. You know, it was just like.
You gotta bring out the Warriors again.
I said, okay.
We gonna be back, okay? The Lakers, we gonna be back, okay? Craig, you tell them.
Yes,
I'm not hating on
Free
nobody.
agency, I'm telling you, free agency. You watch.
We're gonna be all right. Everybody to win.
We're gonna have you back for that.
I want everybody to win.
Yeah. See, listen at this. Yeah.
I want everybody to win. First of all, it's California, so let me just throw that part in.
So, we supporting each other.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whoever's in the fight.
I ain't mess with the Clippers, but everybody else.
So I'm not gonna get into that.
Right.
I can support you a lot better once we start winning again.
Yeah.
It just don't feel right.
When we play each other.
It just don't feel right when we're not competitive right now, Dave.
Yeah. See, I'm just bowing out.
So you guys were talking about just our challenges with trying to balance or whatever, and I think probably maybe another subject or topic that you don't really talk about too much. I know is money. I mean, fill in the blank. Money is
necessary.
Money answers all things.
Money
That's what the
answers all
scripture
things.
said. But the Swami.
Money is necessary.
It's necessary, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then if we don't make wise choices, man, you know how that goes. Man. Challenges, later.
Shouldn't be your priority.
Shouldn't be your priority. No.
And that's something we talked about earlier.
Yeah,
I was just like, I told them, I said, my struggle with, God blessing me with $100 million.
Yeah.
Is if I had $100 million, how willing would I be to still be at an 8 o'clock service, after I was up all the Saturday night, to go back and play. I don't know. It's like you had to dig deeper for a purpose for what you do. And I'm like, it's definitely some things, that's come along in life that helped me to, find that purpose, beyond, the job. Everybody, oh, you're a musician, you love to play. I'm like, but work is a curse. Look in Genesis. So it's like, so that's like, it's hand in hand. And a lot of times, having a family, and this is like solely what we do.
I understand.
It's hard, to sometimes focus on really what's important, and find that balance between because it's like when I'm doing this, it's like, because I've got to work. Because if I'm tired, I'm not doing this because I love it no more. I'm doing it because I have to, or, we ain't gonna have no lights.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So, it's that part of it, like I said, but, also finding a purpose. I'm like, I'll come to the understanding now, and I'm like, I'm gonna speak my own blessing into existence because I realize, every opportunity we get is God ordained. So it's like if I have an opportunity to be somewhere, whether I'm tired or not, whether I'm making money or not, or a lot of money or a little, I have an opportunity, that God ordained for me to be in that moment because you never know who you might be, communicating, like I said, a feeling to. You never know who God just might want you to meet. You never know 10 years down the line. Oh, remember I met you at, you played at Starbucks, for such and such, and that was cool, man. And I needed a keyboard player for this wedding. It's like, who's the wedding? So some celebrity. It's like you never know.
Yeah.
And not even to box it in like that, but just to say, it's
but it
like,
does happen that way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So to take it out of that box and, like I said, to find purpose, beyond the work part of it, it's like, and now, so that's why, earlier I said, it's twofold to be able to work in the church because it's like, it is an opportunity, for you to help somebody, but it's also another opportunity for God to help you.
For sure. Without not giving him the credit, just to me or not giving him the credit.
Right.
when I have the opportunity. And
Exactly.
I'm not talking about being weird
Right.
about
Right.
it.
Yeah, no, not over
Yeah,
spiritual.
yeah. I'm not that guy.
By divine appointment at Starbucks.
Yeah. Yeah. I just no.
Man, just
But I
do your job and go home.
recognize, right, that because he's not Geppetto and I'm Pinocchio.
Right.
No.
Exactly.
But yeah, he is.
Yeah.
He's allowing, opportunities.
Well, you would want it to be that way. He gives us free will. But again, I was like, how dumb would we be, to try to build a house, not being contractors and have an advocate that is like a master contractor who's
Yes,
successfully built mansions. And it's like,
Well
well, I know how to build an apartment.
Well
and
said.
it's like it's sitting right there. It's like that would be dumb on our part.
Yep.
But it's like if you're willing to just utilize what I have available to get your plan across, which is the master plan, which has been done time and time and time again in such a magnificent, incredible, glorious way. Why wouldn't I be like, I'm all in? And then here's the other part that people don't talk about. If I screw it up, hey, blame that guy. I didn't do it.
Was it really a screw up?
Yeah.
My point. It's like he's perfect.
Exactly.
So even in his even in what we don't see to be perfect, it's still perfect because it will put you somewhere that you on your own wouldn't have got because you only saw it one way.
That's what I'm talking about. That's Monday.
Yeah.
Sunday happened already. That's Monday morning.
Yeah.
That's the thoughts that you have as
Yeah.
as a person. That's real life.
Yeah.
It's not whether or not I learned that song on Sunday because that part is done.
Yeah.
But on Monday, if I don't have that balance to now say, feed into that.
Yeah.
Well, what do I deal with these fears that I have?
Yeah. Yeah, you have nothing.
My struggles. But how do I deal with that? I don't deal with that with just practicing the song.
And a lot of times you don't deal with it. They just build up and you just carry it. And then you wind up waking up tired, on the bed tired. You wonder like what's going on.
Yeah.
You don't realize you're carrying all of that.
Yeah, man.
Seriously.
Yeah, man. Yep. So I pick up the phone and I call. Beat up. Hey,
Oh, yeah.
what you doing, man?
Yeah.
How you been? What you up to?
For that hand.
Yeah. Hey, heard you on Sunday. Really blessed me, man. Oh, I didn't know you was there. Yep. Heard you on Sunday, man. Beautiful. Although I make a point to come and grab and hug him every time I see him because I don't see him, all that often. But just that part of it that I'm saying that's
the exchange.
missed, man. That's overlooked, And I think it needs to be more of it, man. I really do. I really do.
Well, opportunities like this, and definitely, shout out to Jonathan Powell, Jermaine Griggs,
Yes,
for giving us, these
Yeah,
type of
for
opportunities.
sure,
For sure.
for sure.
For giving us these type of opportunities
hand claps.
because, but because it's like more than we realize, there's more musicians that think
man.
along the same level. We just don't get an opportunity to
Yeah, of course not.
communicate it like that. So when we do, it just inspires those who are like-minded to speak up as well, because it's like sometimes you can feel like the oddball because it's like the general scope of it, is like I'm a musician and I'm all that and I can't be touched because I'm talented.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you probably the worst person. I tell people all the time, I'm like, I'm no role model, man. I'm like, God made me a musician because I needed to be in church 5 times more than everybody else.
Right. They'd be like, uh-oh.
That's definitely why he made Craig.
No question. It's the truth.
It's like, we got to back up the preacher, so we got to listen to him even more intently.
You got to stay in the service.
You don't want him out too much.
Nah, that's what I'm saying. It's like God knew like we was the worst ones. He was like, I need them to be musicians in the church.
Well said, bro. Well said. Well, I heard you guys play some other Walter Hawkins
Yeah.
music.
Yeah.
Man, y'all taking me back, boy. We used to have the
Yeah, I mean,
the foam. What was that? The foam covers on the mic screen.
with the colors. Remember the colors?
Yeah.
Color coordinated.
The blue one is yours this Sunday. Yeah, for sure. All right, so folks are still, of course, tuning in. If you can hear it, definitely you can play it.
Yeah.
I want to say something before we
subscribe.
go to the
Sure,
song.
sure.
My friend said he's a Golden State fan for 30 days.
Yes.
Shout out to Bennett Pacing.
Oh,
Bennett.
For sure, Bennett.
Golden State for 30 days.
Beautiful, man. Beautiful, man. If I should happen to go on and be with the Lord, and you gentlemen play that at my funeral.
No funerals, man. We just played it for you.
We'll give you your flowers today.
Exactly why you can
Amen.
smell.
Oh, I'm
I
I'm
understand
probably
what you mean,
gonna
though.
get up out of the casket. That's what
Okay.
I'm doing.
All right. Well, I'm
Rise
all
and be
for that.
healed.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably gonna get straight up out of the casket.
All right.
Yeah.
Be
We say
rising
you
healed.
wreck the funeral. Yeah, you're gonna wreck the
You're
funeral.
gonna say I died, but it is well.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, we were talking about money and could you do without it, rather not give away your gift or chords, or your talent. But on a real note, without proper financial literacy,
Yeah.
we really do give away.
Yep.
We throw it away.
Right.
Just
And
willingly.
that's why I said we keep the gift.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like we willingly just, give it away. That's all a part of that balance that I was talking about. That just, because maybe in our families, maybe that wasn't, a topic of discussion that was passed down.
Yeah.
Or our parents didn't know. And no fault to them. They did the best they could with what they had. And if you don't know, you just don't know. What have you learned now,
Man.
versus, about money and what I should probably be doing with it?
What I definitely learned, even most recently, I said, property is the get rich quick scheme.
Yeah.
Like if there was one, it would be that.
Yeah.
I was watching a question and answer, between these two guys, basically handing off a company, to a successor, and they asked the former owner, well, what is it like, to watch your company be led by somebody else? And he said, well, it's like having kids, you help your kids get a house.
For sure.
He was like, it's their house. He said, but you pay for it.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, and so I was like, for different cultures, that's how they, that's just how it works.
Yeah.
They're like, my kids, they get old, I help them get a house, and then that sets them up, for financial freedom.
Right.
When they have kids, they help them get a house.
Yeah.
And all throughout, there's equity building up in all of these different properties, to accomplish even more, at a lesser rate, that requires to be maintained, like a monthly mortgage.
Yeah.
So I was like, wow, so much could be accomplished from one concept, and then you're talking about generational wealth. The Bible speaks of, laying up, treasure for your children and your children's children.
Yep.
I was like, well, that's the quickest way to do that, know. And it's like, how, doing property, once you're in, you're in,
Yeah.
So that's kind of like, what I see now. And even what I aim to work for myself, I'm like, my mindset is to make sure, I help my children get a house, because then they'll be able to help their children get a house and vice versa.
Well, it's not unpopular to think that everything is drive up to the order window,
No.
order success, and then ding.
No.
At the pickup window, you pick it up.
Yeah.
And that's so misunderstood. And I say things and I'm like, man, I sound old, by saying that. It's just part of our generation thrives on the ability of thinking that it's going to happen overnight.
No. It's not gonna happen
Microwave.
overnight.
It's right. Just really, that's part of.
Look at the key word that I used of what was going to help, to provide that. Even though I call it the get rich quick scheme, but the point is, it's equity.
Yeah.
Equity, it doesn't build overnight.
Yeah.
It takes time,
Like-
to build value in equity.
Like what Craig did when he had to wait
Yeah.
before he could play with this band until you build your equity. You got to buy this in order to, to get to that next step. And Deitrick said, hey, well, he had to purchase cymbals, and he's investing now for, for long term. And then likewise, that discussion now I'm telling you about money and finance comes, it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen.
No.
And all we do is just create a cycle of folks who come to church and they leave the same way.
It becomes tradition instead
And
of something
man.
from your heart.
Yeah.
Because we're investing in something that depreciates.
Yeah. And I'm not bashing the church.
No,
not at all.
Not whatsoever.
No.
Not at all.
But it's an opportunity that I think we're missing. And likewise this, to have that opportunity that, you know, you don't have to play today. I just need to talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
I need to talk to somebody who can kind of help me get through life. And maybe that, you know, he is your pastor, your Bible study. But that part of life, man, that's the lens that I see life, you know, through.
Yeah.
I see a lot of people just, you know, especially with musicians, I would see it. Just great band members.
Yeah.
But they ain't no different than me.
Mm-hmm.
They got the same problems on Monday that I have, and there's no outlet,
Yeah, absolutely.
you know, for that. Yeah.
And that's why I can appreciate platforms like this, because it allows us the opportunity to pour back into people and
Yes,
younger
sir.
musicians who desire to be in positions that we're in. And,
For sure.
you know, want to learn how to maneuver and, you know, do things to where they don't have to make the same mistakes that we made and, you know,
Yeah, for sure.
stuff like that. So
For sure.
it's good to have stuff like this
Yeah,
and
man.
have conversations and, you know, have
Yeah.
people in your life that pour into you.
Yeah. You guys got some more music
Yes,
tonight?
indeed.
Oh, man, yeah.
Yeah, we got one more.
Is that
We got one
that
more
Walter
jam.
Hawkins? Is that the one?
Yeah, that's the
oh,
one.
It's back with what? Powder blue tuxedos?
Yeah.
With the perms on the album cover. But they
There
was
was
jamming.
no Photoshop.
Them
There's
boys
no
was jamming, though.
Photoshop. Yeah, they were. Yeah. JP. Good. All right. Hey, Memorial Day has been officially wrecked. Okay. But yeah. So hey, listen. So if you enjoyed what you heard here, definitely have just quick go around formally. Just one thing for aspiring musician as coming up. What advice would you give, Demetrius? One word.
Oh man, practice.
Practice.
It's always good to practice.
Brian.
Consistency.
Consistency. Craig. One word for aspiring musician. Are you gonna play it?
You play his word.
Rehearse before rehearsal.
Rehearse before rehearsal. Yeah, I think you hammered that home clear.
Yes, indeed.
And David.
Learn songs.
Learn song. Good. So listen, if you enjoyed what you heard, definitely I know I enjoyed it. This Memorial Day massacre here on the keys. Subscribe, and to hear and play, and then also for the Gospel Music Training Center, as well. And remember, if you can hear it, you can play it. You guys want to play us out?
We can go back to that.
Go back right there where we were.
Well,
Yeah.
I need to tune this organ though.
It's back.
I was just texting him.
He's back.
You reset it? You reset it?
I'm like, hey guys, it's a MIDI organ. Lighten up.
Yeah, it is a MIDI
Set
organ.
it on there?
Yeah, I was like, hey, it's a MIDI organ.
I
so you
sure
can go back.
didn't. I didn't press transpose, everyone. I'm playing all 12 keys.
The groove. Yeah, the groove.